Okay, for the next couple of video segments of this blog, I'm going to show you how you can make your own backdrop. This is something I've played around with before in making a backdrop for a coal mining scene that I had just when I was experimenting, and it seemed to work pretty good. So I'm going to do the same thing for the Interchange scene, and it's going to be a rural kind of farmlandish background. It's not going to be too exact, but just to give an indication, a taste for the fact that the Interchange is out in the rural area. I mean, I'll have the keep wanting to call it a grain hopper. It is not a grain hopper. It is a grain elevator. There'll be a grain elevator there, another rural kind of scenery. So that's what I'm going to make this backdrop for. And I'm going to paint my own clouds. So I'm just looking for basically that low-lying land that's going to be just right behind the grain elevator there and that whole scene. So the techniques I use here may be something you want to use yourself. I mean, you'll need to have some kind of software that allow you to create banners, and you'll have to print them out on paper. You can do it on cardstock and cut the land profile out and tape them together, and it doesn't look too bad when I've done it. I mean, you can go ahead and buy your own backdrops, and I think you can have them. There's some companies that'll even custom make them, but it starts running into some serious money for like a 8-foot backdrop. I've seen prices up to $200, and maybe you can get them cheaper, but this is essentially a poor man's backdrop because with all the wall space I have in my layout, I can't afford commercial backdrops. So this is what I'm going to do, and your mileage may vary on how you get this done, but hopefully I can give you some useful advice here, give you some ideas on how to do your own backdrop. But I've got 3 images here that I'm going to stitch together in a panorama, and took these out in South Dakota, and it's kind of rural ranch land, but there's some things I plan on doing to tweak this to make it look more farm-like. Again, I'm just looking for a general sense that I'm that this interchange is out in the boondocks somewhere. So let me get on with it. First thing I'm going to do here is stitch these images together. Now, if you have a digital camera, it may have come with some software for stitching panoramas together, so you may want to use that. And I mean, obviously I have a digital camera, but for some reason that package isn't installed on there, so I just downloaded a freeware program called Huggin, Panorama Tools front end, and it's fairly easy to use just for stitching basic panoramas together. So I'm going to load the images. Field 1, Field 2, Field 3. I'm going to open them. I'm going to tell it to align them. And this is where it's got to do some number crunching. I have to merge all these images together. So just take a moment or so to do that. Any moment now. Here we go. Alright, that's what I end up with. And when it finally stitches these together, I mean, these will be aligned a lot better. It'll look a lot better when that's done. So this is just a preview of how it calculated the alignment. So I'm just going to go ahead and create the panorama. And I'll just call it Pano 1. I'm going to save that, and stitching it together. Wow, it looks all fancy. Okay. That is done. All right. No, I don't care about that. Now let's go and look in my folder here. So I can find Pan 01 TIFF. That's the one that was created. Let's open it up. And there we have it. All nice and stitched together. Now the image itself is pretty warped, and all I care about is getting the land out here. So what I'm going to do is going to crop this image, and I'm going to do that. Alright, let me start there, get as much land as possible. Look at that. Now I can start a little bit lower. A little bit more land there. Alright. There, just right above sky. I'm going to cut out later. Okay, edit, crop selection. I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it as, I'm going to go ahead and save it as a TIFF. And I was messing around with this before. I'll call this first one Pan 2 crop. I'll just replace it. Now this isn't quite big enough for the panorama that I'm looking for. I actually want this to be bigger. And I tried using the panoramic software to stitch these together, and it didn't work. Well, what I'm going to do is going to take this image, and I'm going to do a horizontal flip and save this. Save as Pan Crop 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the GIMP and essentially merge these two images together in the middle to create one massive panorama. Alright, now I'm going to start a program called the GIMP. It's also free. And, oh yeah, by the way, the program I was using to crop that image is also free too. That's iFran View. That's a good image viewer and does some basic editing. So that's also free, as well as this program. Let me go and open up my two images. And here's Pan Crop and Pan Crop 2. Oops. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to merge these two images together. I tried using the panoramic software to do it, and for some reason it wouldn't work. So I can't explain, but it's not too hard to take two panoramas like this and stitch them together, as you can see. So what I'm going to do is take one of these images and increase the canvas size. Alright, to accommodate that image there. Okay, so currently the width is 3040, and to double that would be 6080. And what I want to do is unlink the images because I want to keep the same height. I just want to double the width. So let me resize. Oops. No, I didn't want that to happen. Let's try that again. Canvas size. Oh, that's right. 6080. Got to plug in. It won't. There. Unbreak the chain. Okay. 60, 80. Okay. Resize. There we go. That's more like it. You can see we've got this nice empty space over there. I'm going to do edit, copy. Okay. Click on that window. Do edit, paste as, new layer. I'm going to take this and shift it over. Make that bigger. Shift this over like that. And eyeball it like that. Now I'm going to take on a numeric keypad, hit the plus sign to zoom in. And I'm going to use the arrow keys to align the image. Just manually align it. I think it needs to go up. That's too far. You can see those check boxes in there. Those checkers. Alright.